Hey y'all, and good now, whenever and wherever this finds you. It's October 15th. It's the general strike, the day we've been working for well over a year. Actually, Brian's been doing this for a couple of years, but today's the day, and I woke up today, and the only thing that was on strike was my brain. But I hope you're enjoying your day, and I want to talk to you about how we got here and all the things that have led up to this, and that I do believe that this is a path into the future, although some would say that it's a failure. I don't think there's such a thing. This was a brilliant piece of work done, and the attention and persistence and the show upness, and it's like maybe in the end there were two. But if there's three, so say I, and let it be. So let's get started with this process of looking at how we got here. Today's strike has a long history, and it's really the history of the Blueprint for a Better America and Brian's persistence on getting this before the American people. The first time that he tried this was in the campaign of 2020.
End poverty, end mass incarceration, end the endless wars. Will Trump meet our terms?
Phoenix Congress 2020 is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And he approached President Trump, got little traction. However, he realized that we only get a bite at the apple every 2 years, and he decided that, well, we'll go for it again this year. I found out about Brian through my friend Sass, who I was supporting running for Congress. I was doing a deliberative democracy dialogue group trying to learn how to talk civilly, use non-violent communication to teach people how to talk to each other and try to stop the divide, or to calm the waters of the divide. We needed issues to discuss, and I found out that Brian has this Blueprint for a Better America, and it has 50 issues, and I thought, well, how perfect is that? And so we began to use the Blueprint for a Better America in our group. Welcome, everybody, to acknowledge our unity as individuals and form a more perfect union. This group is for practicing deliberative dialogue and nonviolent communication. Deliberative dialogue refers to face-to-face method of public interaction for small groups of diverse individuals. Nonviolent communication is the place to start our study of how to come together as individuals. Nonviolent communication is natural giving. Natural giving is remembering to stay in the quality of giving moment by moment in any connection. It's easy to lose it. Instead of much of the time, we play another game called Who's Right? It's a game where everybody loses. So I added a little bit here to consider a three-part plan. And the first part is to support current social political system reform. And the second part of the plan is to shift dependence on centralized representative government to individual sovereignty and personal responsibility, and build an alternative system of deliberative democracy, citizen assembly, participatory budgeting, and digital voting. And the third one is to imagine a resource-based economy. So that's from now until way beyond I'll be here. The Blueprint for a Better America is what we can do now. And I'm going to ask Brian to read this part about the Blueprint.
The purpose of the American Union is to deliver legislative solutions to many of the problems and issues that people want to see addressed through a duty-based framework inspired by the preamble to the Constitution. The Blueprint for a Better America is a legislative package with dozens of popular policies. This group will, 1, listen for the problems that people want to see addressed in America. 2, look to see if the Blueprint helps advance solutions for them. 3, examine the other policies that are within the legislation and the problems they address. 4, recognize that not all issues are important to all people, but that we are stronger when we support each other. 5, listen for paramount objections where individuals have deal breakers inside the blueprint and would prefer politics as usual. 6, build consensus that as a whole, this legislation can build a better America by ending poverty, ending mass incarceration, and ending the endless wars. And the time to act is.
The group eventually grew into a study group of the Blueprint for a Better America. So meanwhile, Brian has had multiple adventures. He is a man of action. He lived in New Hampshire and he's moved to North Carolina. He would go back and forth, and on his way back and forth, he would stop off and make videos. And one is in Washington, D.C., and one is in Philadelphia, and then I would get to make videos from those, but I've passed up the bigger part of the whole picture. Is where I really got involved was in January of this year, and Brian was doing a hearing to talk about the Blueprint for a Better America, and SAS was acting as the chairman, and they did this process where Brian would talk about and cover all the issues in the blueprint. And then what I would do is I would take and cut out all the pauses and the ahs and the oohs and whatever and make a video. This was from January 17th until March 31st, the end of March.
Welcome to the Phoenix Congress 21 public hearings on the 2022 legislative package, where we are writing a blueprint for a better America. This legislative package will end poverty with universal basic income, end mass incarceration with major criminal justice reform, and end the endless wars by bringing our troops home and reducing our military budget. Before starting, I'd like to invite you to join us in reciting the preamble to the Constitution of the United States to remind us of our duties as Americans and set the intention for what we are trying to do today. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. With that, I'd like to welcome the delegate from North Carolina's 9th District to continue his testimony on the Blueprint for a Better America.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Brian. I'm an organizer with the American Union and a Phoenix Congress delegate in good standing representing North Carolina's 9th District.
It resulted in a series of 80 videos, which you can see on YouTube, that talk about all the different sections, titles, sections, and information you could ever want to know about the Blueprint for a Better America. After the hearings, Brian never slowed down. He did interviews. He has 12, and they're on his YouTube channel, and I'll be typing the link in here as we go along so that you can see it, and I'll talk for a few minutes to give you a chance to look at it. And his stump speech, he's got it down pat. And the interviews were great. He was very good at interviews. And then he bought, I think, 5,000 yard signs, and he was expecting volunteers. Or he always thought he thought in terms of winning and getting this done. He wasn't half-assed about anything. And boy, did he hold my nose to the grindstone. And I'm a better editor now because of him. Thank you, Brian. Then he did texting. He had more credits than he had people to fill them out. So then he has this idea. What do you think about a 100-day countdown? And we were discussing, should it be 100 or 99? And by day 60, he had made the decision that he was going to go for it. He was going to, every day, he was going to do a 2-minute video on the blueprint. And post that on Twitter, and he did that, and we have all of those at an undisclosed location. Oh yeah, because I did those every day too. That was fun, because what he would do is he would give the presentation, and then I would get 9 to 13 minutes of raw footage, and then my job was to make that into a 2-minute video. And man, do I love to do that shit. That kept me busy for a while, and he kept doing that. Now we're down to 21 days, and he has decided that he's going to do a 21-day fast. Now, this has been his plan all along. Unbeknownst to the stoner, I didn't realize that that was his plan all along. For 21 days, instead of the 2-minute video, he did a live stream for an hour. Well, sometimes it was 30 minutes. It was the shortest one, I think. And I was to do timestamps on those, and I will honestly own that I gave up about 3 days out. But Brian is stuck with it, and he stayed with it. And so today is the day, and at 8 o'clock tonight, his time, we're going to celebrate the end of his fast, and we're going to celebrate as if we won. Because we did. We won the experience. We won a treasure trove of video information and proof positive that this can be a way that we as the people can work together, create legislation, and become aware of it, and then eventually we'll learn how to vote on it. And by the way, I signed a petition on my way out of the store today. At first I didn't like the idea of the petition, and then he said, well, it's to give us a chance to vote on something that the legislation passed without us knowing. So I said, I'm all for the people. And so I got to share a little joy there. Oh, and I told the cash register lady she was my favorite, and she smiled. I made her day. It was wonderful. And this is the future that I want to live in. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it's given you an idea of what kind of man Brian is. And it was my joy to be his little sidekick. I felt like that story of the guy that tilted at windmills. I was his sidekick. But hey, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you down the road.